Hey everyone. We thought we'd have a little bit of fun today. It's going to be a little bit more casual. Instead of doing like a demo, Matt, I really just kind of want to nerd out and Wrike and play with AI. And the reason being is, I do demos every day and I'm in with customers every day. And one of the constant questions I'm getting all the time is like, what are you doing with AI? And when you have an hour to showcase like, let's say how we use Wrike to run a marketing campaign or something, it's tough to show everything we're doing because we have actually implemented a ton of AI in the system. And so I thought, why don't you and I just kind of run down? We've got a list, right? Why don't we just run down our list of all the AI we've implemented today and play with it?
Yeah, I think it's probably been a year when you and I did a rundown of all the AI features in the past, and boy, there is a ton of stuff out there. And I think to your point, that could be a demo on its own. And the rate of change happening with AI right now, we probably can't address it enough. So I think it's cool. Let's definitely jump in, nerd out a little bit. Where do you want to start?
So, uh, I've got this list, and I think it starts right from the beginning of where we first kind of implemented some AI.
Yeah.
And so I think it probably makes the most sense to start there, right? And start with some of just like where did we bring in AI originally, and how can we leverage it kind of in our day to day? And I love this stuff, but then like let's start going through some of the things they've added. So I'll begin, right? I'll share my screen.
Okay.
And the first one on the list is summarize comments in AI.
Yeah.
And
I
so
used that this morning actually, with my own
you,
work. So yeah, let's jump right there.
I will share my screen. And I'm just going to start by saying I actually use this. It's that time of year, vacation PTO, right? I was out for a week, I came back, and I had a lot of opportunities and deals and everything that were rolling through my Wrike queue. And I actually used this feature and I love it. Like it's just incredible. But the concept is, right, you have the place where we add comments, where we collaborate, where we talk. And a lot of times there's just a lot of back and forths. Maybe Matt and Ryan are going back and forth, and occasionally I mention, a Tyler or a Jim, and they always result in very similar things. There's some actions, there's some asks, there's some feedback, there's clarification. And so you see here, I've got this task. And as I scroll up, right, there's communication between me and a developer and what we're working on, what needs to be done. And so you can imagine, this is a small sample, but imagine coming back after a team of people have been talking for a week.
Yeah.
It's a lot to catch up on, and then multiply that by, I don't know, 10, 20 tasks. Block out your calendar because that's going to take time. Or click the AI summarize button, and like you see in a lot of products today, it scans everything that's gone on. It gives you a quick overview of what's happening, but most importantly, it pulls out the action items, right? So I need to inform, that this code's ready, and this person's going to go execute on what they're supposed to do.
And
Um,
I think too, where just bringing in my own personal context from today, as you know, we're a global company. There are things happening 24 hours a day. So it's not uncommon for me to call it quits at, the evening and then come back in the morning and there's all this happening. And I know we don't have the mobile app that, up, but that's exactly what I did this morning. I'm having my coffee, kind of scanning through things from the day, and there was a ton of activity in a task that was important to me. So, it's so nice to just do that same thing right from your mobile app, see what happened from that standpoint overnight because I was on the move on my phone and there you get it, right? You get a quick update and know what you're needing to focus on first when you get to the desk.
I mean, I don't want to call myself a rookie, but I haven't ever used it on the mobile app. You use it on the mobile app?
Yeah, yeah, you bet. Yeah, it's available there on the mobile app. You could summarize and get that same thing, which I think is a great use case for it, right? You're
Yeah.
walking to Starbucks or wherever, and you need to get a quick summary.
Yeah, it's funny, this is a total tangent, but I find that I think I do most of my communicating from the mobile app. I just have never used the summary there because normally I'm back seat at desk when I need to summarize stuff, right? But call out to the mobile app. It's become my preferred way to communicate anytime I step away. It's so
Yeah.
easy. Like boom,
Yep.
quick reply. All right. I'm going to keep us
Yeah,
moving.
let's move
And I know
on.
that Matt, we normally do like these 12, 15-minute snack size things, but I say we go through the whole list.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if this one's a little bit longer, then so be it.
yep,
Uh, Generative content, right? We've probably touched on this before. But I gotta tell you, this is something that I am using all the time. When I'm building out something from scratch or when I need to change wording, but let's just create a project and we'll
yeah,
just call this, Matt and Ryan's test project.
yeah.
Matt, give me a project. What are we doing?
Well, let's do a product launch.
A product launch. Cool. What
Yeah,
kind
new
of product?
product. Yep. What's
And
that?
what kind of product?
Oh boy, that's I'm an outdoor guy, so let's launch a new pair of skis. I think you ski too, so
Yeah,
let's go there.
love it. So when I dive into this, in the description box, you'll notice there's this AI button. And if anybody, I had someone tell me the other day, they said, I type in that box every day and I just, I never clicked that, right? And so uh definitely take a look at it. It's really cool.
Yeah,
What you
it's an
can do is come
icon to
in.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember. You can come in and you can go, what do I need to do here? What am I going to write? What do I want to generate? And I'm not saying that this is going to do a better go-to market, campaign than somebody who does that for a living, but it's a great way to just get kind of the basics foundationally structured. But then where
Yeah.
you take it is kind of our next AI tool. So generate a go to market campaign for, or no, you said a product launch, right?
Yeah, 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 product launch for new
Generate
pairs.
a product launch for a new pair of skis. Generative AI, grabbing phases, tasks, subtasks. I click insert, bam, right? It's right there. It's in Wrike. I've got all this. I can make the edits. So, I always say this, and anywhere I use this is this going to be perfect? Probably not, but does it give me that like that platform to start with? 100%. So if I need to add tasks, we can add subtasks by just going in there and adding another one. Um,
Are
what
you
I
going to
like,
turn this into tasks for us, Ryan?
yeah, right. So this is where I go with is you can generate anything. It's not just going to be like agenda or task-based items. You can generate copywriting. You could generate, summaries. You can also like grab anything within here, whether you've typed it or generated it, and you can click that button again and you notice the whole tool changes. So now you can come in and you can say, "Hey, change the tone of what's written here," or explain all this in simple terms, fix typos. You can even translate it, and that's something that I really like too. We work a lot overseas, like as you've said and many
Yep.
times, we're a global company, and so if I need to take this whole thing and translate it to German, right? I can translate all that text, put it into German, and get another copy there. So not only do we generate it, but then we can also enhance it using that same AI capability. But yeah, if I wanted to take this, quickly turn anything into action items, I can select one, many rows, and then just hit create subtasks. And you'll see just like that, we start building this out. And so what I found is if you're taking a massive project and you want to just quickly generate it all in there, then it's easy to come back in and say, hey, I want to turn these things into a specific custom item type, and I want to make those phases, or I want to make those sub projects or whatever else. You can easily do that and start structuring that project in a few clicks rather than generating this all at once.
Well, what I also think is great about this too is it's kind of that capability, that button's there, but every day AI is getting better and
Yeah.
better and better. So it's like that button gets more and more valuable every time we use it. A year ago when we were showing this, it's already more advanced and more refined than where we were, right? And I think that's going to be just the great thing is it's kind of this gift in the platform that she's going to keep on giving and get stronger and more
Yeah.
and
Well, along that same line takes us to the next AI function. It was the gift that keeps giving. It started up here, but now it's also down here, right? It's
yeah.
down in the comment summary. So if I just was like, Matt, I'm so mad at you for not
Mhm.
getting this done.
Yeah.
All right, is that a little harsh? I don't know. Do I need to use AI to change
I've
the
heard you
tone
say
of
it before.
something? change the tone to something nicer.
Yeah.
Um, Matt, I'm disappointed that this wasn't
Yeah, I
the
don't know.
you know.
I think I'd rather you be mad than disappointed, but either way.
But yeah, same thing down here, right? Translate, change the tone, replace the text, fix everything that you need right in there to really, take what you've written and convey it better. So, okay. Um, what's next on my list? What's next? Okay.
You want to generate
Project.
some, or where are you going?
Well, I'm gonna predict project risk.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
this is where we're going to get into some feature sets of like actually getting ahead of the problems before they happen, right? And it's certainly that's something that we also hear a lot. I think it's what like who doesn't want this that that ability to know when things are getting off the rails, right? Because
yeah.
we've talked about if everything went according to plan, then you wouldn't need much of a tool, right? But it's when things
Mhm.
don't go to plan, and the quicker you find that, right, and the quicker you react to that, could be the difference between hey, we're launching that pair of skis in time for winter season, or we missed the moment, right? And now we've got a pair of skis coming out in the middle of next summer.
So for me, this feature's been there,
Yeah.
and I assume most people have added it's a default field, the progress field. I assume most people have played with it, but it was a few months ago, I can't track it, when suddenly it came with colors, right? And so for those who don't know, as it stands, this tool has a couple of different ways on the way that it works, right? You can either just have it based on the amount of completed tasks. 10 tasks, I complete one, we're 10% of the way done, right? Simple. We can also have it do it based on the duration of completed tasks, but you can also go a step further, task and duration averages. And so it starts to look at like how long should these tasks take? How long did it actually take to get some done? And then it's going to start gauging your project progress based on multiple factors. But where AI came into play is we attached it to this tool, and what it's going to do is it's going to tell you whether the project is high risk. It color codes it. So you get like a, yellow or a blue or a red. If it's on track, it's going to be blue and it'll tell you why. If it's at risk, it's going to highlight it red and then it's going to give you a risk assessment. And that could be things like it has 13 tasks overdue. It has one task that hasn't been scheduled, or it has a task that has yet to be assigned, that's coming overdue. So it'll give you those risk assessments and then color code it based on that. But I uncovered this the other day. There's actually something else that we've added that ties directly to this. And so
I'm
I'm going to
curious.
show that off too. In automations, we now actually have, and we'll create a new automation rule. We'll apply it to projects, and we will take a look at when an item is at risk. So using the
My
same
goodness, I didn't know this existed, right? Like
yeah.
this is cool. Now I'm my curiosity's piqued.
Yeah, I'm gonna encourage everyone to like, maybe once a month open this and just see what's in here.
Yeah,
But
right.
once an item reaches that AI risk, you could do something like change the workflow status or add a person or send a message, right? So now we're leveraging these automations tied directly into those AI features coming out of, project risk predictions.
Yeah, oh boy, there's like my mind's going with all of the different things, right? Like once again, where I was talking just a moment ago, surfacing these things early, right? Like we want to
Yeah.
get ahead of these things, get it back on the rails, get it fixed, and deliver on time, right? Or close to
Well,
the date.
I mean, we're moving into, it's clear where we'll be a few years from now, like how far we've advanced. I think about skill assignments. I don't really consider that AI based. I think it's really more criteria based. But if I've got a task that needs to go to a developer and they need to know how to use C sharp, and they need to know how to speak English, and they need to be in Denver, that's all data, right? And so Wrike just bubbles the best person based on a criteria search. But same concept. I have all of that data. Wrike could essentially start like using that data to just assign work, right? And so, not yet, but I just see that same kind of thing here. We have the data. We can analyze what's at risk. Now we can use that data to launch automations as opposed to having to build our own at-risk automations. Wrike's gonna handle it for you. Like once upon a time, I'd be like, well, when do you want to get an at risk? 2 days as a due date's approaching, and it's still in a new status. You don't have to build that kind of stuff, right? Let Wrike tell you what is at risk and why. Um,
Yeah. And I think that that's where we get into some of the agentic sides and that vision for the future where like I see this world where I come in the morning and not only was there the global work stream from everyone you're working with, but I get a summary of what happened overnight from a pool of agents that were examining and working on this, whatever we needed them to process overnight. And it's like, okay, now this is where things get really interesting with where work could go. Maybe even a little bit scary, right? But
yeah,
I've been part of many of these transformational ways, old enough to remember the internet, becoming a thing, cloud computing becoming a thing, right? So I think generally speaking, my gut feel is we're going to find a nice balanced way through this transformation too.
100%. And I think the proof is in the pudding, right? And I'm that old too. Man,
Yeah,
I remember selling SaaS products before we used the word cloud,
yeah,
and it
right.
was it was a scary territory. People,
Yeah,
it was a hard sell. Like, you want me to put my confidential documents where? Like up in the internet?
yeah, right.
Now look at where we are, right? We're 100% there. So same thing. The proof's in the pudding, and once AI starts showing you what you can do beyond proof of concept uh, it gets adopted more. And there's a great example here. We're on this page, so I'm going to show you um, AI recommended automations. So, like any system, you're performing actions all the time. And
Mhm.
like human nature, some of those actions become very repetitive. A creative request comes in, it meets this criteria. I assign that to Matt. The systems can start to pick up on that and say, "Hey, do you just want to automate that?" And so I don't have any in this demo account. Let me look at my other demo account real quick. But when you go in and you take a look at them, they're always spot on. I got an alert that I should turn one on recently, and it was 100% correct. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're right." So like, hey, whenever a new item is created, then you want to assign it to this freelancer because they've done that so many times in this demo. It sees that. Here's these recommendations, and all you have to do is say, "Yeah, never do that manually again." And this is what I mean by like let it do the work and let it prove to you what it's learning, and suddenly it takes off.
Well, and I think there's some of the where we were shown with the generating a product launch plan. Even some of this, I've talking with customers, just they go and look at this regularly just to get automation rule ideas. The cool thing about our automation engine is you don't have to be a coder to be able to write a rule.
Right.
But there's also still the just having a moment to stop and dream of the art of the possible from that standpoint. So I think just even looking at these rules for ideas and getting yourself a great starting point, absolutely some use there. And then to your point, we're also going to get many rules that it's going to hit the nail right on the head. You're going to be able to
Yeah.
turn those on and just go. So.
And you're gonna get some that you're like, no, that's something I did a lot last week just because of the situation. Don't do that, right? But
Well, that's
it's
AI today,
yeah,
right? It's not perfect yet. We're at the early stages of these things, but where we talked about it's going to keep getting better and it's going to keep getting smarter and it's going to get more accurate.
yeah. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Couple more. Yeah, here's where I'll pivot. So let's hop back to here. It keeps flashing at me every time I come to this page, so I feel like it really wants
It's
me to show
catching your
you.
attention.
It's grabbing my attention. It's like ask. So
We got to go there.
this is Ask AI. This actually came. I think it's either coming out of labs right now, or it just went GA, or it's going GA very soon. Uh, it
We'll
works based on
clarify that. They put that in the comments there, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It basically looks at these three things, right? Ask us any questions about info, insights, stats. So think of some questions, right? Like, what's the goal of my project, or show me task allocations per assignee, or is anything delayed, right? So let's ask, is there anything delayed? Um,
So you're telling me a project manager doesn't have to ask their team this anymore and send that out. They could just ask it ahead of time and come
yeah.
into the meeting already knowing what's delayed.
So I've got a planning approval that's overdue and
Yeah,
is currently in review. I mean, what great details there. It's in review. I can quickly click on it from here
yeah,
and say, why is it in review? Pop that open.
yeah,
What data or details do I need to see there?
yeah.
Uh, and then this other one was due on June 5th and is still in new status. Uh-oh. But I've also seen some other things. So now I can get visuals, heat maps. I've seen it do, pie charts and donut charts and graphs, but here's the current breakdown of tasks throughout the whole thing between Michael, David, and then unassigned to work, right? So I love this. I love where we're going with this. Obviously, it's a brand new feature, and there's, depending on what you're trying to get, I think it's going to produce amazing results.
Well, and it's really cool when you start looking at this at scale. So, right, we're looking at a project here, but now let's go to the portfolio manager, right? That's looking across all of their projects, hundreds of projects out there, and need to get a pulse looking across all of those, or even all the way up to the executive level that just wants to understand where's everything at in my company, right? And know some of these things, or where do I really need to pivot some of my attention to, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is something that's always so challenging because there's recency bias and all of these human problems with us remembering to even surface things or talk about some of these different things or even remember some of these different things. So being able to look across all of this and understand where things are at and kind of get a more factual understanding across all of the descriptions, the comments, the data, the text, right? Like all of that metadata comes in. I think it's going to really lead to some, just valuable insights of where do I need to look.
Well, and I should point out, like, I just jumped from projects to portfolios, but it's there. It's there on anywhere you navigate. So even if
Yeah.
you're hopping into a specific project and you want to focus just asking questions about that one project so the scalability is pretty impressive. So, I was just thinking charts and graphs. This is the other place that I love what we've done
Yeah.
with AI. And to show it off, like let's just hop into one of our dashboards. I'll dock this out. We have a new widget, and I think it's awesome. AI highlights. And there's a lot of times people will come to me and be like, "Hey, so we have weekly meetings, or where can I go to just like have my team put in notes and stuff?" Add a widget to your dashboards that shows you all the AI highlights, so you can see this. In this dashboard where the data is pulling from, there's 4 overdue tasks. They could impact timelines and deliverables. You have
Yep.
4 projects at risk or behind schedule. And we have an overall moderate level of risk. So, like, just to have some tool that's bringing me high level data on my dashboards is incredible. And then, along with that, creating widgets can now be done through prompts. And so this is something I've been playing with a lot, right? You go into a widgets, you create them, you've got to point to data, then choose what it looks like. Here, I could just say, tasks by assignee, um, and status. Wrike will use that prompt to generate a widget. And just like that, here's tasks by status and color coded by who they are assigned to. And you can, of course, just add that to your dashboard, make tweaks if you wanted to see it, vertically versus horizontally, if you wanted to swap the data in there. But I mean, I was able to just create that with a simple sentence versus having to build any kind of widget from scratch.
Something I've never seen in my multiple years at Reich, Ryan?
What?
A project manager who's like, man, my day is really energized when I get to build that weekly project status PowerPoint report and
Yeah.
send Like I just can't wait to get to that moment of my week. So when you're showing these things here, I'm thinking that AI summary and creating these widgets, right? Like that AI summary is often going to be that's going to replace that bullet list of here's what we've done, here's what we're doing, right? Like take that off the plate. And then these widgets when we're generating and reporting on that same data there. It's like here's a link that has everything that I used to spend as a project manager an hour on every Friday that before I could get out of the weekend on letting everyone know where my projects are at.
I would say I agree. I think we've all been there. The dashboards to me are massively decreasing the time it takes to put together updates, whether they're weekly, they're real time now, right? And
Yeah.
so you can give them public links, you can give them that stuff. But I don't know, generating from a prompt is just like something that, if you had asked me, hey, where would you throw AI in? Like, I never thought about that. And I think that shows the innovation behind what we're doing in here is like, how do you take something that we've been doing one way and how can we streamline it in seconds instead of, minutes? And it removes frustrations. It makes it easy to use. I'm in
Yeah,
love with
and
it.
then rather than creating that status report, they could work on the we could work on the risks, we could work on the issues. Maybe we're taking on more projects that year because we have extra time to manage more projects, right? So it's like taking some of those things that are important and very impactful and necessary, but freeing up those cycles to work on other things at the same time. So it's really cool to see, and I think it's like everything you've been showing everyone today. There's like this big here's where we're at, but I can't wait to what a year from now when you and I are talking about these again and seeing where we're at in another year.
All right. So there you have it, right? And I think we've covered most of them. If we've missed one or two, rest assured we will be back. Like the AI is going to be a topic that we continue to like nerd out with and play with within the system. And you know what I'd really love, Matt, is like once we get this session up on YouTube, I'd love to hear down in the comments. I'd love to hear how you are all using AI and Wrike. I'd love to hear if you saw something today that you didn't know was there, or you ran and tried it out and have feedback. Like I'd love to hear some of the use cases of how people are using it.
Yeah, yeah, because I think that is, any of these transformational movements, right? There's always like there's the what the technology can do, but there's also the ingenuity of the person who's using it. And you showed me something. I think I showed you something. We both said we didn't know these things, so we learned. So
Yeah,
now let's learn from our customers too. What are you doing? And look forward to hearing and chatting with you all more about that.
100%. So thanks everyone for watching. Again, a little bit longer than our normal snack size video, but we thought it would just be fun to play around with everything that we have revolving around the topic. And I think we'll do more of these, right? I think it's fun to just kind of dial back and play with features along the way. So tune in next time. We'll see you guys then.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.